Hey, Mike, I'm just letting you know I'm dialed in.
All right, Matt, thank you.
You're good. You're live.
Hello, Matt.
There's Matt over there.
There's Matt over there.
Well, let me make an announcement. When somebody's going to speak, only one person speaks. What happens? These devices, as soon as you speak, it'll turn the video to the camera towards you. It'll know exactly who's speaking. But if you confuse it with several people talking all at once, it's going to be disarray. So if you could just have one person speak at the time.
That's something new.
Yeah, it's new. It's these
That's this year.
kind of, yeah, they call them owls, but they're one behind you and one in front of you. And like if these guys start to talk, like Matt's up there because he started talking, so he'll pop up on that. We don't need to watch that, but okay.
Stand for pledge of allegiance, please.
Okay.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Other than Bill Miko, who's any other members on the call? Just Bill Miko? Ash, you should note that. Item number 2, public participation. Hearing none, we'll move on. Item number 3, approval of the meeting minutes dated July 14th, 2021.
Mr. Chairman, I should have introduced Michael. He's from the Walnut Avenue.
Yeah, he's on 5A. We'll get him.
But no, I just used it for public participation. I just want to let the board know that he's in the audience.
Anybody approve the July 14th, 2021 meeting minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from July
Chairman by
14th,
John,
2021.
Second.
second by Don. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Communications 4A, the superintendent's report. Ed, Garrett, you got the floor now.
The report for September 2021. The average daily flow was 2.6 mgd. The peak flow was 4.6 mgd. We have compliance with all our permit limits. Our effluent total nitrogen is 67 pounds per day. We shipped out 29 dry tons of sludge, while 4 SVRs are online. We had another incident-free month of accidents. It's 33 now. Our safety training was water mitigation procedures. Just so we know that Murphy's Law will come into effect when we have a problem.
So what is it about it? Water mitigation?
Well, we learned a lot. The last couple of months, we had some pretty big rain events. So we learned some new things to do to better help us to mitigate the water from the plant.
Plant.
Cutting out certain cycles really need on the high flow because it gets
Cycles on the SBR, you mean?
on the SBR, whether cutting out a waste cycle or back in gear because the water is so crazy coming in.
Luckily, we can't open the gate anymore.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of water, but I gotta give kudos to Ernie again. Working out there. We recovered so quickly. It's take days, now it's hours.
Hey guys, Mike Duncan's here.
Is that?
Oh, man. These were
Chemical consumables were on average. September, we had our disinfection season, we used almost 2,800 gallons of sodium hypo, no noise complaints at the financial pump stations. No odor complaints at the pump station or plant.
Doesn't that seem like an unusually high number, 2,800 gallons?
No, that's.
Is that your?
27.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that, I'm sure.
It's not even 100 gallons a day.
Huh?
It's not even 100 gallons per day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grease removal. At Upper Route 8 was 90 pounds, Lower Route 8 was 140, the River Road was 100, Gladys Place was 80, Meadow Lark was 90, for a total of 500 pounds, 30 pounds more than we had in the same period last year.
Why is it so much higher in August than Lower Route 8?
Well, that,
Got a big influx for some.
Yeah, it was just my own curiosity.
yeah, in August, we had a heavy influx. Something strange happened there, but that's where all the
Restaurants.
restaurants are on top of there.
Yeah.
That's, the girls all serving feeds into their place at their pump station. That's where the big difference is there.
I wonder if it dislodged the fats, oil, and grease that are running on the inside of the pipes. I wonder if the velocity, the extra rain was enough to break that loose.
Oh, yeah.
And that might have been the catapult for this.
Yes.
It's definitely a big number.
Yeah, just, I
Comparison.
don't remember ever
It's not
seeing
even
it.
that close.
Yeah. that's
Then
what
the
I
other
was-
one.
It's not a possibility if it, we call it, somebody dumped into their system after they pumped the grease trap. I think might have called me on something like that, but tracing that down, we haven't come up with a method to be able to trace that.
Yeah, no, I was just, I remember learning early on, like with COVID, you saw different spikes and stuff. I would just think August seemed like a kind of strange month
Yes.
with people traveling. and
Italian
stuff.
Heritage Month.
Yeah, I was getting a lot of meatballs.
Hey, there, a lot of restaurant.
Preventive maintenance was basically the same, our corrective maintenance. We wired the motor for the bar screen rate, replaced all filters for turbo blowers, repaired the level sensor for the fuel tank, repaired the heater in the chlorine building. Our tank cleaning is up to date. The SPR number 4 is kind of blurry on my sheet anyhow, it's 2018. Work schedule for the remainder of the year. So all SPRs are currently online. And we keep on top of all equipment with controls and daily checks and repair items as needed. Our overtime management is basically as usual. So, coordination until May now.
Any questions for Derek or Ed? Derek? Okay, all set. Hearing none, move on. Budget worksheet. 4B. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Bill, since you're the budget worksheet, man, you have anything, you look over this?
No, I didn't get a chance to look it over this, Michael. Plus, I'm still trying to go through some last couple reports in the fiscal year 2021. Hopefully, by next meeting, I should have updated spreadsheet that I could show everybody. Just to show past expenditures compared to original budgets and how they worked out over the past, I forgot how many years I went back, 4 or 5 years or whatever.
So a couple 100% remaining, septic call remaining. The sewer usage fund, the 2,000, I don't remember, what was that one again, on the sewer?
So the usage, and the
The
plan,
refund. The $2,000. And the capital savings fund that. So here we are, what are we, 6 months into it? So this, I'm gonna start doing the same thing, Bill. I started actually doing the same thing, going over some of these things. And it
Yep.
seems, I don't wanna say it seems out of whack.
8047, 8047, that's kind of gonna be our go-to when we get real lean, because we're not, if you look at 6507, we're burning through that, we're only a fraction into the year. We need to speak, we need to do something about that account.
Which one are you looking at?
The bottom of page 1, 6507, sewer maintenance.
Mhm.
We see that the remaining is 34%, we're only into the first quarter. You know, our department is aggressively trying to tackle a lot of maintenance issues. So what I'm gonna say is we're gonna be talking to the board about dipping into that 8047 WPCA capital fund of 75,000 as you know, if need be, to keep the ball rolling for us.
Hey, Bill, do you have the budget in front of you, Bill?
The present one or the past one?
Remember the spreadsheet that I did, I had last year and then the new year? Did we change the?
No, I don't have it in front of me, Michael.
I didn't bring it. I'm gonna look at this.
It's pretty much the same.
I don't think we changed it.
It
right?
wasn't changed.
Vernon?
It was peanuts if it was changed. It was 203 or something.
I forget how long before we catch up on a monthly basis?
Yeah, that's only the problem with here, gentlemen, is that what's being displayed is with purchase orders going against these things. It doesn't show you the true thing. Like, you know, I could go in there and ask for, in that 6507 account, it was 205,000, right? I can literally order $205,000 worth of purchase orders and not have spent a nickel, yet it would show the account depleted. So it doesn't truly paint the right picture when you guys are looking at, you know, percentage remaining and current balance and so on and so forth. Because if a purchase order went against that initial, the original budget, and the purchase order wasn't used yet, that money is still available, but yet it will reflect that it's not in your budget. You got what I'm saying, correct? What we should need is, and I had a great administrative assistant in our old highway, would give a spreadsheet on each account. So it's new to the penny, what was actually used and what was actually, in other words, you'd have your initial amount, the amount of the purchase order, then you would reflect what is actually been used out of the purchase order. So you'd have a very accurate summary of how much is available.
Well, if you remember, I requested those summaries. I got those summaries from last fiscal year.
Okay.
And it's kind of how I made my determination of what I thought we should have in the budget versus on what we spent that last year, and went through that exact sheet. And some of them might have gone up and some of them might have gone down based on what.
Yeah. Well,
I made my recommendation, and of course the board voted on what you guys.
Well, I mean,
we ultimately
I
wanted.
do remember you wanting city hall vehicles to reduce to $1, and you can see that they used 104, so the thing's $103 in the negative. You know, 6505, page 1, I do remember that.
What's the function of this budget sheet, Ernie, if it's not accurate at all, I don't follow you.
Well, it's
So then why
not
are we-
that it's,
I mean, I know I'm not a budget guy, so I'm not, I'm not criticizing.
Yeah.
But since I've been on, I thought when we started this, at least, yeah, there might be a purchase order or two, but if this thing is not accurate at all, then I gotta go with Mike, what Mike says.
no, I totally agree. I think what I'd like to do is start working a spreadsheet on the account. And it's a tremendous amount of work. I mean,
To that point though, because I mean, we put a ton of time in on the front end budgeting this year, and I think it was well needed. I think it helped us out, right? That we really did spend a lot of time debating. I'm not advocating for more work, and I'm not saying you should do it every single week, but maybe even like on a quarterly basis or halfway through the fiscal year.
Well, you couldn't let it add up like that, John, because this
No, but-
person would be overwhelmed with trying to do the inputs.
I'm not saying add up, but like to his point, I don't know, like, what's the point of looking at this if there's a
I
lag?
totally agree with what you gentlemen saying.
So
Don't get me
all I'm
wrong.
saying is, instead of like an ideal world, every month, we should just be able to see this in real time. Because like city hall vehicles being 104 versus 1, like, it doesn't matter if other areas aren't even touched. My point is, should we just agree that rather than chasing the budget, toward the end of the year or before we have to, as a commission, I don't want to have to go approve an expenditure if I know we haven't spent money in another area. Does it make sense to have a deeper, more accurate dive once a quarter or something at the budget? I know it's a lot of work.
No, I think you should have it every meeting. I totally agree. But I'm maybe a little bit to blame because I keep my nose to the grindstone on all the maintenance aspects of thing. And you have my word, tomorrow morning when I go in, I'll be addressing this spreadsheet and want it in real time, like we had it at Highway. But then the admin aide there. So it's a tremendous amount of work, but it was a tremendous amount of work for her over at Highway, and yet she accomplished it. So,
Well, if you remember when Steve was doing it, he had a hard time getting it done because this thing falls behind 2 or 3 months.
yeah. But
And it's not worth it.
you don't need this, Michael. You wouldn't need this anyway. We wouldn't need to run after the finance department. Because, like I said, that the other department, what they did is she did everything herself. She didn't need to wait for, what was the balance of purchase order. She knew exactly what the balance of each purchase order was. She knew exactly what the amount was, the original amount, the requested purchase order, the actual what was factually then in the budget. What was not spent on the purchase orders was your current, true current balance. So per Don's, Michael's, and John's request, I will, put the efforts into that to get this a lot more accurate.
No, the lining and everything that you guys are doing now are paying off. So this to me is, you go like this with it, John.
Right, yeah, no, I agree.
Because it comes out in the wash at the end. And the unfortunate part about it is, like last year, when I was putting it together before I presented it to you guys, I had gotten all of the breakdown of every category and all the purchase orders, and there were like pages and pages of it. And that's why I made up my own budget based on what we spent, presented to you guys, and you guys made a decision, yes or no, and we changed the budget, or we kept the budget. So to me, this thing doesn't make a lot of, it's not worth talking about there. It'd be nice to know kind of where it's going.
We need to improve it.
Yeah,
We need to improve it now.
But right now, Ernie, what you guys are doing with the lining and all this other stuff, stay on that for now, and we'll get to this eventually.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions on the budget worksheet? Hearing them, move on to 5A, Walnut Avenue sewer plausibility. But you're here for that?
Yeah.
You want to introduce yourself and?
I'm Mike Magazine, living on Walnut Avenue, named Magazine for 110 years, believe it or not. Yeah, so the sewers have made it up to the house before us there's 4 of us that are in line next. And we just want to look into the cost of doing that, see if it's something you guys would approve, and then we find the cost out and then disseminate it to our neighbors to see if we can afford it. Thompson, who lives on that street, God rest his soul, gave us an idea, but that was like 5 years ago, and I'm sure the prices have gone way up. But we're looking for you guys, whether you think it's plausible for, 4 of us to be, tied in, what the cost that would be. Because long-term, we'd love to be part of the sewer system, rather than just have our septic systems going.
Mhm.
So none of our systems are failing now, they're all okay. But, we're thinking long-term, and this would be prudent to do for us for,
I said, did you get sign off from the other neighbors?
yes. Yeah, I gave
You
Ernie.
had that sign off, Ernie?
He gave it to us over
Okay.
3 months back. It's upstairs,
Oh, okay.
meeting minutes.
and,
So Matt, our engineer, Ernie and I,
We're zooming in right now. He's listening.
yeah. Ernie and I and Matt spoke last week about the project. He's gonna do some feasibility studies. Now, I'm not gonna tell you, so typically, I'm gonna use the word typically, and it's been a long time. I'm gonna tell you, it's probably been 15 years before we've done one. 15 years that we did one. And I'm just gonna ask you, don't quote me. But the city typically, I'm gonna use the word typically, will pay a part of this because they see it as an an asset to have you on the system. They consider it, a selling point. Let's face it, anybody that wants to move into a property, it's a selling point. If you don't have failed systems, then that's kind of like something else that we can kind of consider. But typically, we were charging, let's say, a typical septic system today to be replaced could run you $30,000 to $40,000. The city would put some of the money in, maybe around $10,000 plus or minus. Now, this is a long time ago.
Sure.
So we're kind of back to square one because it was so long ago. And I'm thinking that if I remember, and again, that's something that we always had. We had a calculation on it, and with Tom. And so what we're gonna have Matt do is we're gonna do the study for you.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then, so let's say that it's gonna cost $30,000 per household, then the city will put up 10, and then you pay the rest, and you pay the other 20,000 over a certain amount of time.
Right.
We give you to pay it off. So that's typically how it works.
Great, yeah, I understand that. It sounds good, yeah.
Hey, Mike, this is Matt, talking from the ceiling. Hey, so we have a preliminary kind of estimate that I could present in person next month. But basically, yeah, we are for the 4 houses, we are looking between about $30,000 and $40,000 per home. And that's for the 4 houses. If we were able to expand that a little bit to maybe 5 or 6 homes, it would certainly help things. But that number also includes a 20% contingency for like some unknown things, because we're at such an early stage in this this feasibility that once we go through like a detailed design, the contingency might go down, which would reduce the cost a little bit. But the range for 4 homes is 30 to 40,000 right now.
Got it, okay. Yeah, that's important, for our neighbors to hear that, maybe out of their price range. So is it like a 10-year payback to the city, or could it be longer?
Again, it's been so long.
It's 10 years. Less than-
Was it 10 years?
That's what the- right.
I think 10 years is about right.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I threw the figure out at them at 15,000 over 10 years, it comes to $125 a month approximately. Everybody was good with that. Now, it sounds like it might be, a lot more than that. So should I go back to my neighbors first before you do any more work for us?
Well,
What do you think?
I would hesitate about giving them numbers, but it's,
Okay.
you can kind of give them, say, look, these are swag. You know what a swag is?
Yeah, I do.
What's a swag?
I sell swag.
Good. It's better than a swag, actually, because Matt and I discussed, or we've been discussing it, for the most part, no cost.
Sure.
And so, Matt's saying 30 to 40, I basically said it also, so, your
Ballpark, wait.
ballparks, so you can go back and use that, but don't tell these people that it's not in stone yet.
Yeah.
He's gotta do his evaluation, get out there and maybe do some borings or do some, testing or,
Yeah.
But
Is that what Matt does? Is that what Matt does?
well, he'll do a preliminary design.
Yeah.
Or most of the systems, I'm gonna assume are in the back of the house.
Yeah, let's see, yes, all
So we'll bring the lateral to the property line. You have to go down your driveway or your front yard or wherever you're responsible for your connection
yes, we all know that.
back to your house. So that's not in the 30, that's not in the 30 to 40,000.
Yeah, we understand that too.
So there's two separate costs.
These are all pump-up systems, correct?
I'm not sure what that means.
Well, in other words, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, where the gravity sewer is higher than the elevation of your homes, isn't that true?
Well, no,
Yeah,
we were looking at providing a gravity line down Walnut Avenue, and then based on kind of the first floor elevations that we have for the houses, it looks like if the sewer's 5 feet deep at the street, then there should be enough pitch to get the sewer back to the house for first floor service. It would probably be easier to grab penetrate the basement from the front instead of going all the way around back to the septic tank. But looking at the aerial photo of the neighborhood, it looks like that kind of the septic systems are kind of all over the place. Some are in the front, some are in the side. I don't see too many in the rear, but what you consider the rear of one house, standing on Walnut Avenue would probably, other people consider the front. So it's not an easy thing to say over the phone.
Are they finished basements in each of the homes, do you know?
Don't know that, I don't think so.
Could you ask the other three
I think one's got
individuals?
just a dirt floor.
Pardon?
I think one of the homes has just a dirt basement.
Crawl space,
No, we're a basement, but they don't have any.
slightly grade.
Yeah, just dirt. The other one was just redone, so I assume that one's okay. Yeah, I think the other one has a full basement too, I think.
So as you know, that's all your responsibility from the lateral that we
do.
provide you.
We do, yeah, absolutely.
That could run you $6,000 to $10,000 depending.
Yeah, used to be
And
3 to
hopefully-
5 and now.
Hopefully there's no ledge there.
Tough time to do anything, right?
Mhm.
Now, does a private contractor give a price to the city to do the 4 houses? Is that how it works?
We'll go out to bid. And then if you want to talk to them about hooking them up later on, you can talk to
They
the
do
private
that too,
contractor.
good, okay.
Yeah.
That'd be great, so.
But we do not bid that out,
Understood,
only to the lateral.
right, yeah, we can talk to them separately, right?
Mhm.
So I guess I'll put this feeler out there to the neighbors, I'll let Ernie know, I guess as the next step, and then we'll work out feasibility, plausibility.
Yeah.
And then we'll decide from there, and then you guys can decide. It's not life or death stuff, so.
No.
But it's important long term. For all us to tie in, feel so.
Better thing would be if there's no toilet, if there's no bathroom in the basement, then you're pretty much in one of those 4 houses. You're better, if you don't have a bathroom in the basement.
Yeah, I don't think so. I know
And if
3
somebody does, then
years.
you might have to put an injector inside, a grinder inside the house in the basement, and
Understood.
pump up to the lateral.
Yeah, I know 3 houses don't have one. The 4th one's kind of new to the neighborhood, so. Okay, well, thanks, so we'll work on that, we'll see where it goes, and you guys can let us know.
You can touch base with Ernie or come to the next meeting. Matt, how far are you into it, Matt?
Oh, gosh, we're like, we're 95% there or more. So I could have something very soon. I basically, I need to go over it with Ernie and then just finalize a couple points in it. So,
So maybe I'll talk to you within the next month about it,
Sure.
and so the neighbors are pretty certain. they
Yeah,
want to-
like you said, put the feelers out there, see what they think. And then don't forget, they got the additional expenses
We all know that.
beyond this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there any way that the city would extend it past 10 years? Or is it just a 10-year
Well,
payback?
no, what Michael's speaking, the chairman's speaking about is past the performance with the city.
Sure,
They need to verify that that's still, available.
understood.
Okay, so I'll look into that, on your behalf and on behalf of the board.
Great.
All right.
Can't ask for more than that, thanks.
Thanks,
I
Mike.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
No.
Moving on to 6A, bills rendered, Weston and Sampson, $7,264. That one there is an outstanding balance, correct?
Correct.
So you have one invoice, but you got an outstanding on the bottom of it. So why are we approving that if it's outstanding? It's been approved before. Why is that on your, why is it on here?
On the invoicing, they, I think the time from when you approve one of our invoices, the time it gets paid might take longer than 30 days. So there's a little bit of a overlap when the check's in the mail, kind of a thing.
Yeah, but it's not, we don't need to approve it, Matt.
No, they don't need
It's
to.
been approved already.
Okay,
On here is, it's on here as bills rendered, so typically we would not put that on here. If it's been approved before, we're not gonna approve it a second time. So it's, yeah, it's sitting in, it's in process. I'm gonna assume, I don't,
I'll verify it tomorrow.
yeah, can you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we would move down to 6A2, $3,158. This one's for general on-call technical services for fiscal year 21-22 for $3,158.
Just one question on the first one, Mike. Is this because we didn't have a meeting last month?
I don't know. It says outstanding invoices. So Matt, why does it say outstanding? Does that mean it's,
It says through August 27th in our
It's
last meeting.
outstanding means it hasn't been paid.
I understand that, and I understand the chairman's point that we don't want to reapprove this, we already did, but I'm saying this wasn't approved in, the last meeting we had was July. So if this is the invoice for August, is that why we have two invoices here? Because we're paying August and September.
It couldn't have been approved in July if they stated September.
okay, let me chime in. I just pulled it up on my email here. So the invoice for $7,264 was dated September 15th. So you guys did not meet in September to approve it. I think that was the issue there. And then the next invoice, which would have been for should have been early October. Again, you know, you haven't met yet to look at that October invoice. So I think really it sounds like these two invoices are kind of piling up because you guys haven't met in a while.
It's misleading to say this is outstanding. This is the first time we're seeing this.
exactly. So
Right.
Matt, here would be my answer to that and John's comment. Is that if we didn't get to it yet, which I understand, then first of all, we have the ability, and we've done it in the past, if there's outstanding invoices and we don't have meetings, Tom and I talk about it, and it's, yeah, it's approved, we know it's, so this should have been on a separate invoice. Because here, it's kind of misleading. I see an invoice here for $3,158, and we see the outstanding, which tells me that, well, we approved it. So this really should have been, the 7,200 should have really been on a second invoice on a second sheet of paper, but it's fine. I mean,
We do, no, we do have that second invoice on a separate sheet of paper that was sent to you September 15th. And then what that running log is say we have a bad client, like a land developer or something. I'll pick on them. We could have a list of 5 or 6 outstanding invoices that, we previously submitted to them. We just haven't received payment for it yet. So it kind of keeps track of it automatically.
okay, so let's go backwards. Let's approve the, John, go ahead, let's approve the 7,264.
So I'll make a motion to approve the invoice for $7,264 dated September 15th, 2021.
Motion by John. Again, motion by John, we're supposed to keep repeating ourselves. Motion by John.
I gotta get it, then I can read it.
Motion by John to approve invoice number 9211395 dated September 15th for $7,264. Do I hear a second?
Second, for August 17th for Weston and Sampson for $7,364. $264.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so let's, John, go ahead and do the same one for the 3,000.
I'll make a motion to approve the invoice dated October 6th, 2021 for $3,158.34.
Motion by First shot by John for $3,158. Seconded by Steve Chupka.
Second,
You want
invoice
to- you want to say it?
$3,158.34. Invoice number 102-11208. Listed, Ms. Sampson.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Anybody opposed? Just so you guys know, there's a couple things. I typically don't like to go more than two meetings without a meeting. You know, there wasn't much on today except for Walnut Avenue, because Bernie and I had met, talked last week. I don't like to go a third, so we'll only go two. Extend it, and then and I'm not gonna say, I'll say with your permission or with your understandings that if we do have time in between, we don't want to hold invoices up. I've gotten you guys already to say it, said, look, if it's something we know that's on-call services, not to hold it up. Tom's called me and said, you want to approve this? When we talked about it, we'll call Matt, and then we approved it. That's still fine with you guys. Now, I don't know whether that's the right way to do it. I'm saying it now, but if you guys don't want to do that way, we'll do it each month as it comes up. That's why one reason I don't like to go more than two meetings, to hold up anybody's invoice.
This is the first time we've gone,
Yeah,
in
in a
just a
while.
few years, I know.
Quite a while. Yeah, you're right.
Not still here?
Oh, yeah.
I think we should pay Weston Sampson once a year.
Oh.
Motion.
I'll show- Yeah, okay, if you want me to show up once a year, you got it. No,
God, they may charge it,
got a wise guy there.
Yeah.
penalty.
All right, next item on the agenda, new business, WPCA, 6B, meeting schedule for 2022. So which one of these changed November, right? Ernie?
That's for this year.
Oh, this year.
Then you're
Okay.
confirming that next year's schedule
Right.
is okay.
Oh, I'm still kind of asking, November's is.
Yes, November.
Because of Veterans Day.
Let me just double check that. Yes, November, that was in my report, which is next, but basically it's just confirming that the meeting is fine for November 10th at 4:30 in the auditorium for everyone. That's November 10th. It's not your normal,
You want Ash will send out a reminder to everybody so we don't forget. It's a week earlier, right?
it's just like a day, change of a day.
Oh, by one
Are
day.
you talking for next month or for 2022?
No, next
No,
month. Next
November.
month.
This year.
Next month, and then we're gonna vote
Oh,
on
I
this.
see.
So that's a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday?
Bear with me.
Hold on, he's looking.
November 10th is Wednesday.
Yeah, November 11th is the holiday, so.
Right, it's Veterans Day, if I remember right.
It's Thursday, 11th. The meeting's always the second Wednesday of the month, so
Yeah.
still ends up being on the 10th.
I think the schedule that went out last year
So-
had it on the wrong day.
What I'd like to do is double check this because I think there was a conflict on the Wednesday. But
You said something about it had to be a quick meeting or you had to move it in the email.
that's,
It wasn't about the day, it was about the time frame of it, because there was something else going on.
yeah. Well, let me just verify that, and we'll get an email out to you
All right,
just to confirm.
so let's go back to the.
If you're voting on next year's, which you're really doing.
Yeah, let's go, right. Ash will let us know, or Ernie will let us know in email. So the schedule for 2022, any question with the schedule? If not, anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the 2022 meeting schedule for WPCA.
Motion by John to approve the meeting schedule for 2022.
Hey, bring
Bill
something
Miko,
up.
you haven't you haven't been seconded it yet, Bill. You sleep, Bill?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, make the motion.
Hello?
We just want to see if you're awake, Bill.
I'm awake.
Want
It's
to
tough
make
to make a motion when you don't have anything in front of you, that's why, so.
I'm sorry. Package.
It was delivered to him on Friday.
Yeah, you got your package.
Well,
on Friday.
No, I know that, but see, I don't have the other bill for like $3,000 and what, $3,158 and some odd cents, so, you know.
They will make the motion for us.
All right, before I make the motion, I'd like to, it says 4:30. Is this gonna stay 4:30?
Sure. Yep,
I thought we were going back to 7.
we gotta find that out.
It all depends on City Hall closes at 6 right now.
Right,
That's
but
per
we're
government.
talking all next year?
If we don't know,
We don't know.
we don't know at this time.
We don't
The
know.
amendment could be done and you guys be made aware of it.
Right, we're approving the schedule, but it says 4:30.
We're approving the
But
schedule
We can
for
change
4:30.
it though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's to a point where you want to go back to 7 o'clock.
Need a second on that motion.
Each
All right, so I'll second the schedule for 2022 WPCA meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Aye.
Thank you, Bill. WPCA Administrator Report, 7. Item 7.
Just so you know, the document that's under this document is is an FYI of what the surrounding towns are doing. Garrett and Ed, you might be aware of that, how the plans are changing and, you know. But anyway, one of the boards know, it's just an FYI, so it's in a letter to you folks right there. Second thing is just to bring you up to speed with what's going on with the Bridgeport Avenue sanitary sewer pipeline. They've cleaned the line, 7,600 feet of it, and they videotaped the line. Now that video gets sent to In Situ Forum, who's actually the installers of the line. They'll take that data and they'll send it to their company that manufactures the lining. And after that, at that point, that you were talking 2 to 3 weeks before we actually get it visible at best. So if I had to do a prognosis on the thing, I'd bet you're at least 3 weeks out at this point before that actually transpires. But the company has not been forthcoming with great on communications. So we need to work on that. And Matt has put a fine gentleman, Benjamin, on the project. And what I've been doing is letting Benjamin do the the prodding of the company to get some answers. We also have the person that did the videotaping and the lining, who was the subcontractor for it. I've been going through them to get the answers. It's ridiculous because we hired a company, but yet we're not getting the communications. It's really poor. It's been really poor.
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. Actually, we do have a little teleconference with them tomorrow morning to kind of get a status report where we are with things and what are the next steps. And so we can get updated schedule.
But
Did they,
we know about it.
was a project progress schedule submitted at any point yet?
And please say again, Billy, we're kind of crossed over with Matt there.
Okay, was there a progress schedule submitted yet by the contractor?
That's my point. The communication's been very poor. We're not getting any answers. And so Matt's coworker who Matt has put on the job is going to be, like Matt just said, he's going to be our, anyway, Weston Sampson's going to be on it tomorrow. They're going to get answers. We put them on there as the bloodhounds.
Yeah. So can I give a quick update in terms of scheduling? They kind of reached a milestone measuring the installed diameter of the pipe, so they can then order the liner, the appropriate liner, because it has to be pretty tightly fitting before they inflate it into the pipe. So now that we have that measurement, we can ask some questions. So like, how long until that liner gets manufactured and delivered to Connecticut? And then it's like, at what point do you schedule the actual installation of the liner? And how does that, where does that fit into the, our calendar? And how long do you think it takes once it gets started? We're getting a lot closer. And then we could also ask some other kind of administrative type questions and say, hey, can you send us an updated schedule by email, or maybe we just take meeting minutes and write it down that way. So yeah, we're doing our darndest to assist Ernie. We actually work with In Situ Forum a lot. They do great work and they're very safe. their biggest I don't know, downfall is that they really are not great communicators. But once you have their attention and they're working on your project, they do great work, and they are one of the, I'd say probably the top company in the Northeast for this work. It's just yeah, you're right. It's trying to work with a bunch of guys who are used to being in the field. They're just not very responsive with communication.
Are you planning on raising that?
Right, so, on further, maintenance, we're trying to aggressively, control the INI. And we've really been, with Ashley's help, she's been in the field, staying after the contractors to raise the manhole frames. And we found, quite a few that, were culprits for letting water in some large amounts of water. So we're still on that. That company is finished for this portion of the year. And, we're gonna be aggressively, getting another list together. Ashley went out and marked out 300 of them, like as I mentioned, a couple of months back, or 3 months back. Okay, moving along. Manhole frames and covers is just like the same as lumber and any other material. They've been really light on giving us stuff, but I want to let the board know that right now our stock is adequate for multiple different sizes. We got basically 60 frames of each size, so we're in good shape. All right, one of the other problems that's affecting that we got to address after the liners on Bridgeport Avenue, and there's other manholes, is the sulfuric acid that eats away the manhole, the concrete. So we have a company that's going to be, that Equix is going to be addressing these manholes. There's two that are really bad on Bridgeport Avenue, but we're going to wait till the liners put in and then address the manhole, so we don't, do things in reverse. We talked about the November meeting, and I already just mentioned about the gaming on the II, and so is Garrett. So, one of the things I got the wrong list here, but I wanted to mention that our very own Mr. Pete Pavone has been instrumental on providing the maps in the paperwork for in situ form for the bids and for the cleaning. I mean, the man has done 80,000 lineal feet of pipe and mapping for us. So I just wanted to give him a round of applause on that. And that's all I got to say.
Let me jump in before the meeting ends.
You did.
Sorry, guys. Hey, so probably over the next 2 months or so, we do expect that the cured in place pipe lining project will move forward towards actual field construction. Because of the size of the pipe and the condition, we actually recommend that you have like a full-time resident rep out there to kind of just make sure that there aren't any problems, and if there are, you have an engineer on site. So far we've been billing this as a general engineering support task. Do you want to continue doing that way? Because if they're out there for 6 weeks out in the field, at night working on this thing, it might make sense to open a new task for that and plan for that a little bit.
I don't really know if we need that much oversight, Matt. I personally brought you in on this just as a, second, someone looking over the shoulder type of thing.
Okay.
I don't get into bankrupting the board in their budget on something. Like I said, this is a top-notch company. They're going to do top-notch work. And we just like at this present time, if you're talking about the Bridgeport Avenue lining portion of it, just like to have your representative periodically show up to confirm that the product is still the same, the wall thickness, the application is being done properly. Mind you, they've got a performance bond and stuff on this stuff. So if they do anything wrong, just call them out on it and have them do it right.
Okay, yeah, and the way, well, that was kind of what I was describing. Like, so if we were to, like, say, certified pay applications for unit quantities and lengths, then, and the kind of the quality of the work, then we would need to be there when they're doing it. But if you're looking for a spot inspection, maybe go out once or twice when they're first starting off instead of every night, then that would be a lot less expensive. We can just handle as an on-call. And then if things go on or happen, then we would defer to Ernie to kind of address that with the contractor through the performance bond. We could do it that way.
Well, we'll throw it around the table with the board, maybe not on, at this moment or something, but just to get their thoughts. Right now, I'm feeling that the spot check would be a little bit more than, you know, a 24/7 type of cost. The expense would be, first of all, the expense for the liner and traffic control is in the bid. What's not in the bid is your expense, the consultant engineer's bid. So now the board has to dip into their pockets in the sinking fund to afford, you know, the consultant fee, which we'd like to keep, you know, reasonable with your, you know, of course, deferring to your knowledge and everything. Mr. Chairman. you want to
Okay,
say something?
so my point of view is that you don't want to call a bond. You don't want to go that route. You want it to be done 100% correct the first time. And I know Bill Miko will back me up 100% on this one because we deal with this all the time on punch list items. I'm not going to say we want, Matt, that we want you out there full time, but I would think that if maybe a couple of days a week for the first, they've been there for 2 weeks now, correct?
It's only a 3-week
3-week process.
process, possibly at the tops. So a couple times a week, that's what I was looking at.
A
Thinking
couple times a week is what I
We'd already agreed with that with Benjamin. I mean, but Benjamin is Matt's, and, you know, what's his name, sidekick or the helper.
Yeah.
So a very knowledgeable individual. I was trying to keep costs to a minimum for the, you know, the WPCA, while not being foolish about things. You know, we want their expertise and oversight, but I just can't see a company this professional that does this day in and day out making mishaps. I just don't see it happening.
You'd be
Okay.
surprised.
So how about you? I mean, if you want, Ernie, maybe me, you and Mike can talk about it offline. So it's
I agree.
it's to be more comfortable conversation.
Yep, that's fine. Anything else, Matt? Ernie?
No, sir. Thank you for asking.
Any other questions from the board? We don't have the financial statement. Right, Ernie?
No, I'm sorry, we don't have the financial statement at this time.
Anybody like a motion to adjourn?
I like motion to adjourn.
Second? Second, motion by John, second by Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Michael, one thing, there was no financial statement
Hey, Bill.
submitted for today.
What's that?
The financial statement, it wasn't handed out at the meeting today? Is that what was said?
Close it, Bill.
We'll get one for you.
Okay. Yeah, whatever, Ernie, whatever handouts were done today, if you could just put it in a separate pack and I can pick them up at your office in the next couple of days or whatever.
No, we'll just email it to you, save you the trip.
Have a good night, guys.
Oh, okay. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Thanks.
Good night, John. Good night.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Yeah, thanks.
So,
Progress in
where are the two sheets?